Hello everyone, welcome to our live signing. I'm Megan Alexander. We are live in the Inside Edition newsroom right now here in New York City. So glad that you are joining me. I am thrilled to talk to you tonight for a full hour, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern. So let's have some fun. I'm going to be talking about my book, Faith in the Spotlight, which is out officially tomorrow morning. But all of you that have logged on, you are getting a sneak peek the day before, you lucky dogs. So thank you for joining us. Again, this is all about my book tonight and answering your questions and finding out how you feel about the book and where you are in the country. So if you've not already done so, make sure you buy the book. You're on the website right now. And to ask me a question, buy the book and then fill out that form and ask me something about the writing process, maybe my job, my career being here at Inside Edition, the process for putting together this book, career advice. I can't wait to hear from all of you guys. So we're going to have a lot of fun. Again, we're going live from the Inside Edition newsroom here in New York City for a full hour. So I am thrilled to do this with all you guys. Hello to everyone too. I know we have a lot of people on the West Coast that are tuning in the South, the North, all over. I appreciate you guys being a part of this. This is very, very fun. And to our Inside Edition viewers, special hello to all of you. I know some of you caught the story on my book on our show today. I was also on Fox and Friends this morning on Fox News. So hello to any of you that may be tuning in. All of my Facebook friends. Just thanks for jumping in. Simon & Schuster is my awesome publisher, specifically the division of Howard Books, and they've been promoting this as well. So we want to say welcome to all of those people. Just to tell you a little bit about the book, this has been a 2.5-year process, and it's pretty surreal to finally see it. Guys, I got to tell you, it's pretty crazy to see your book in form, I guess you would say, after being on a laptop and on a notebook for so long. I really wrote this book on the plane because I travel from Nashville, Tennessee to New York City every week for work, and I got it done on my laptop on all those flights. So yeah, it was a 2.5-year project, and it feels pretty good to have it here in my hands right now, and I want to get it in your hands. So can't wait to hear from all of you and get your questions and just find out what's going on and what you want to talk about. I know we have people that will be tuning in from all over the country, and a lot of you have already submitted some questions, so thank you so much for that. We've been going through them, and we're going to try to get to as many as we can tonight. My friend Irene, who is the publicist here at Inside Edition, will be helping me. If you hear her shout out something, that's Irene's voice. She's helping field these questions as they come in your comments, so we'll be looking to take all of those here in just a bit. Want to thank the team at Premiere for doing this and bringing all the equipment in here. And I think we're getting ready to go here. So I think we'll begin taking some questions and talking to all of you. Again, if you've not already done so, you're already on the website, but to ask a question, please buy one of the books and then just fill out that form. And I think you get a good deal. If you buy one, you get the second. 50% off, that's a deal. So there you go if you want to buy more than one. Yeah, so this is really, really fun. Irene, who do we have?
Great. Megan, your first question is from Megan from Edmonds, Washington.
Well, hello, Megan, in Edmonds, Washington, my hometown.
Her question is, what was the easiest and hardest part of writing this book?
What is the easiest part of writing this book, and what was the hardest part of writing this book? Great question, Megan, in Edmonds, Washington, where I was born and raised. So shout out to everyone in the Northwest. I would say the hardest part is finally letting it go and surrendering the book. As I mentioned, it was a 2.5-year process to get it all down, figure out my chapters, fine-tune things, work with an editor. So the hardest part was submitting that final manuscript and saying bye-bye and knowing I won't get to change it again. I think, I think things through and stress about things and worry about them a lot. My husband would say I stress too much about all this, but I wanted it to be perfect, and I wanted it to be, everything that I wanted to share with the public. So the hardest part was surrendering that baby when it was time to give it up. The easiest part, I have been so fortunate here at Inside Edition to cover some incredible stories. I would say that I was never wanting for material because I have been a part of this show now for 8 years, and Inside Edition covers a little bit of everything if you tune into our show, whether it's politics, business, lifestyle, entertainment. So you will find in the book that I have a lot of stories of just being on the job and some wonderful celebrity friends that I met through my job here at Inside Edition that graciously wrote intros to the chapters. So in that sense, I had plenty of material to put down and couldn't even fit all the stories in. So thankful for that. And great question, Megan. Thank you so much for asking.
Great. The next question is from Reese from Westchester, Ohio. He says, I'm buying this for my wife. I'm not a big reader, but we have girls 11, 14, and 16, and I think this will be great for them as well.
And it's Reese?
Yes.
Hello, Reese from Ohio?
Yes.
Hi, Reese. Thank you for tuning in. I love it that you have young daughters that are interested in this. That is so cool. For me, I really got interested in the industry at about age 12. I decided I wanted to be in this industry, so 11, 14, 16, those are such important years. Looks like probably junior high and high school are your daughters, so first of all, congratulations, and you're doing great, Dad, keep it up. I wrote about my junior high and high school years in this book. And the different activities that I was involved in. And I just want to say, hey, you know, keep getting them involved in a variety of things. I'm sure you probably are and doing a great job. But for me, you know, my parents just said, hey, go for it. They said, try new things. Don't be afraid to fail. So encourage your daughters to not be afraid to fail and to just go for it in life. I think that's one of the best things we can do is just instill confidence, especially in young women in this world. I'm all about girl power and ladies going for their dreams in life. So congrats to you and your girls, and hope you enjoy the book. Thanks, Reese.
Next is from Bernadette from Louisiana. My daughter Lucia is a senior in high school and plans to study journalism and theater. We are applying to colleges now. This book is very appealing to me as a parent. What role do you feel parents need to play in supporting and encouraging their aspiring artists? Thank you, Bernadette Boyd.
Okay, so that was Bernadette. Reese, I will get yours here in just a second, and Megan. I got going here and I forgot that I'm supposed to sign these books, so I will get to it. Bernadette from Louisiana. Awesome state, gorgeous state. One of my favorite assignments was covering a Saints game down there for Thursday night football in New Orleans, so love all you folks in Louisiana. That is a great question. You know, I would say don't put yourself in a box into thinking that you have to go to a college that has your specific major. For example, I went to a college that did not have a broadcast journalism program. I was a political science major and just got a really good liberal arts education. So I would say, you know, as you're applying to colleges, you know, really take a look at all that these schools have to offer, because for me, I really found that for my career, internships was key, and then just having a really well-rounded quality education. You've got a lot of good schools down there in Louisiana too. Tulane, a lot of great schools. So yeah, you know, I would say take your time, look at all the different colleges, and you know, sit and talk with your daughter. And journalism and theater, which she's involved in, know that that can transfer to a lot of different careers. Performing and presenting in front of people, that's not just theater and journalism. That can be all kinds of different careers when you make a presentation in front of your boss or in front of your company. So yeah, I talk about that in the book, that you know, one thing can kind of lead to the next. Don't think that you have to have it all figured out in the beginning. Enjoy the college process. I certainly did. And again, you don't have to simply go after one thing, but congratulations to your daughter. Journalism and theater, that's awesome. That was a lot of the things that I was involved in. So Bernadette, signing to you and Lucia, is that right?
Yes.
Lucia. Thank you guys for calling in. Congrats.
Great. Next question comes from Pam from Williamsburg, Virginia. How can we get you to come to our area, Northern Virginia, to talk?
Yes, I would love to. Okay, this is what you need to do. Email my publicist, Julia Bonner, and we will try to get this figured out. That's Julia at Pierce, P-I-E-R-C-E, and then a little hyphen, PR.com. Again, that's Julia at piercepr.com. If all else fails, go to meganalexander.com, click on the contact button and you'll find her email, and we can figure this out. I would love to come talk to you guys. That's something that's really important to me, is the personal contact and speaking to people and meeting people and encouraging them. I know how important those people were for me when I was growing up in school and in college. So yeah, love to come to Northern Virginia. Thank you guys. Thank you, Pam.
Great. Next question. Hi, Megan. Is this book primarily inspirational for young women, or will young men be inspired as well? Madeline Hussey, National American Miss Indiana Preteen 2016.
Madeline!
I'm asking this because I'm looking for inspirational books to include in the libraries of my Kindles for Kids charity. I want to know if this, oh, it's cut off.
That's a great question. Madeline, thank you. How are you, dear? I know that name. Thank you so much for logging on and calling in. Great question. Okay, yes, it is for both women and men. Now, obviously, being a young woman myself, when I wrote this book, Madeline, I really felt that there are a lot of great books out there for men and written by men. There's a lot of great books specifically in the faith world, written by pastors' wives and by females, but a particular book written for the ambitious young working woman or aspiring working woman. I haven't found a lot of those books that want to maintain their values and go for that corner office and climb that ladder. So I did try to target young women. However, I think young guys can get something out of this book as well. I mean, it's universal to hustle and work hard in life, to seek out mentors, to step out of the boat and take risks. I talk about, one of the chapters is called Let's Negotiate, and I talk about negotiating your contract and asking for a raise. All of that is universal and can apply to everyone. And the stories in this book are for both women and men. And I will just add that some of these celebrity contributors that I had, both men and women, Kirk Cousins, he wrote the foreword to my Covering the NFL chapter. Kirk Cousins is a quarterback for the Washington Redskins. I also have Michael W. Smith, who's a big pop singer, Christian pop singer. We also have David A.R. White, who's an actor. Devon Franklin, who had a great book called The Wait. He's a producer in Hollywood. So yes, girls and guys contributed to the book, and I think that you will be able to take something away from this. And I would say, guys, if you're dating or married to a strong, ambitious woman, you're gonna get some good advice in this book about how to help and encourage and empower the ladies in your life. So yes, Madeline, great question. And indeed it is for both guys and girls. Thank you. Signing your book now, Madeline. Okay.
Great, next question. What is the most interesting live event that you have covered?
Ooh, that's a good one. Well, I've covered 6 Super Bowls for Inside Edition. It's tough to beat the Super Bowl, I gotta tell you. There is nothing like that whole week leading up to the big game. Americans, they love their football. The world does, but we are so passionate about our football. It's like no other. Obviously, we know that the ratings are incredible. Everybody tunes in on Super Bowl Sunday. Walking out on the field and looking up and seeing the stands, and the players are so excited, and the way that they honor our country with patriotic presentations. The Super Bowl is probably the coolest live event, and Super Bowl 50 was pretty special last year, so tough to top that. And I talk all about it in the book, in the Covering the NFL chapter, as well as in the different times that I've covered it for Inside Edition. Great question. And we have Lucas on the phone, is that right?
Yes,
okay.
We have Lucas on the phone for you.
First phone call. Hey Lucas, it's Megan Alexander, how are ya?
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from lovely Nashville, Tennessee.
Lucas,
So good to see you.
what's your full name?
Lucas Hogue.
Lucas Hogue, as, wait a second, as in the country singer?
Yeah, you know me, girl. We go way back.
Oh, I know this man. Lucas, congratulations. Lucas Hogue, his single, Boom Boom, is #1 on CMT right now. Is that right?
That's correct. That's correct.
That
I'm
is-
so proud of you. It's so good to see all your successes happening.
Thank you for calling in. We go way back, don't we? We've known each other 14, 15 years now.
At least.
At
I believe.
least. Oh, thank
So
you.
awesome to see all your success, and congratulations with the book. This is fantastic.
Thank
Can't wait to
you.
get my copy.
You got it. Absolutely. I'm ready to go. What do you want to know, Lucas? Anything you want.
I do want to know. I have followed your stories, when I'm on the road and I get to watch Inside Edition, see all your stories and all you've been doing. I would love to know what your favorite story that you've covered for Inside Edition is.
Oh gosh, what is my favorite story that I've ever covered for Inside Edition? That is such a good question and so incredibly difficult to answer. Irene, publicist for Inside Edition, knows this. We cover so many different stories, but gosh, favorite story. Oh man. Lucas,
I've seen you swimming with orangutans.
I was just going to say, it's probably the wild animal stories. I believe I am still the only reporter that has swam underwater with orangutans and tigers and ligers. Yes, there is such a thing as a liger. It's true.
I know. I've actually seen one too. I'm so excited.
So yeah, the live animal stories are just awesome on our show. And yeah, it's a great place. If you're ever in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, it's called the Tigers Reserve, where you can actually see these animals up close and personal. And yeah, that was pretty scary, Lucas. I didn't think I'd survive, but I got to deliver for my boss. I thought I'd give him a good story regardless.
Absolutely. That's so great. So great. I'm so proud of all you've done. It's amazing to watch your career grow. It's fantastic.
Thank you, Lucas. Thank you for calling in, my friend. Congrats to you. Boom, boom. #1, CMT.com right now.
All right.
I love
Good
it.
night.
Take care, my friend. That's so fun. Thank you, Lucas, for calling in. Longtime friend. Pretty cool. Get him a book. Okay, guys, I'm staying on top of this. Here we go. So this is Lucas.
All right, are you ready for your next
Yes,
question,
I'm
Megan?
ready. Yes.
When did you first know you wanted to go into journalism?
When did I first know that I wanted to go into journalism? Good question. I write about it in the book. When I was 5 years old at King's Schools in Seattle, Washington, in kindergarten, my teacher took us on a field trip to a radio station, which was just across the street because Christa Ministries, which is out in Seattle, my school actually is part of a bigger company that has a radio station, KCMS 105.3. And we went over there and they said, okay, one person gets to talk on the microphone. And I don't really remember this, but the teacher says that I, raised my hand high and ran over there, and I don't even know what I said in the microphone, but I enjoyed the experience and was sort of bitten by the bug. I've always loved to perform and tell stories. And then in high school, I got an opportunity for a day to shadow a news anchor in Seattle, Washington, on Cairo, if anybody's watching from Seattle. Got to sit in and watch her deliver the evening newscast, and I thought, gosh, I'd really love to do that. I think I might be able to do that. So went to college, got the first internship in radio, and kind of the rest is history. But it shows you how important those internships are and those experiences. Any on-the-job training is huge to really see what it's like. It's one thing to study it, but it's a whole nother thing to be there and actually watch it all go down. So good question, yes. My mom and dad, I guess, would say 5 years old, but around then, early. And that was to name?
They didn't give a name.
Oh, okay. Well, let us know if you want to have a book and we'll get a name. Thank you, guys.
The next question, you seem to live such a hectic life. What do you like to do for fun in your spare time?
Oh, gosh. Well, when work is life and life is work, I will say I'm having fun on the job in my career. I love to work. I love what I do. I think, it's great if you can find a job that you really enjoy. I get excited getting out of bed in the morning and working on this show and covering projects and writing this book. So it's all kind of together. I also don't have a whole lot of free time because I have a 1-year-old baby boy and a 5-year-old son. So life is pretty hectic and pretty crazy just with those two. And when I'm not working, I want to just be with my family and with my husband and be with my friends. But we do have our guilty pleasures. I was really into the show 24. We're working our way through The West Wing. I'm watching Designated Survivor, which just started on ABC. I love those political thrillers that engage the brain as well as they're just fun to watch. So we have our TV shows, which is fun. Yeah, and I like to go sing karaoke on the weekend. I haven't in forever, but I like to do that every now and then. Nashville, Tennessee is a great city for that, so yeah.
Great, next question. What advice would you give to aspiring journalists seeking a career in the entertainment industry?
What advice would I give to anyone wanting to go into the entertainment industry? Internships. On-the-job training is so incredibly important. Again, you can study this stuff in school, you can read about it, that's all really important, but on-the-job training, being in that room, watching when breaking news goes down, that's it can't be beat. So try to get an internship. And then also, again, find somebody that is ahead of you in the chosen field that you would like to participate in, and just study them. And I try to write about that in the book. Different role models for me in the mentors chapter, people that I've looked up to, one of them being Deborah Norville, who's the anchor of our show. I've always admired her, and being able to interact with her now is so cool. And then, you know, try to just get involved in a variety of different activities. If you want to go into TV, don't forget that radio, publishing, magazines, all of that is related. So you don't necessarily have to go to that one field. There's a lot of different ways that you can cross over. Just get in there and start. That's the most important thing you can do, is just start. I literally cold called a radio station for my first radio job. Picked up the phone and called them, classical music station in Santa Barbara, and said, I'd like a job. And they were the only ones that got back to me. So start calling when in doubt.
That is so cool. Next question. Hi, Megan. I'm 19 years old and trying to pick a college major. Do you think that journalism is still a promising field for someone my age to go into? It seems like so much has changed because of the internet.
Great question. Yes, journalism is still very much alive and well. However, you were right. The internet has changed things. Here at Inside Edition, we have so many different computers now and edit bays set up because of all of the technology information that is coming in. So I would say, again, be open to maybe working on a blog. Think about starting your own blog. How cool is it that now all of you guys watching, if you wanted to, you could start your own show on YouTube? That is incredible. That was not available to me 10, 15 years ago. So be creative. But yes, journalism is just changing and adapting to all this technology, but it is still very much alive. We're just seeing it in slightly different forms now, again, with websites, with blogs. A lot of companies are taking control of their own message instead of needing to go to maybe some of the newspapers that they used to. They're developing their own website or their own blog. So still very much out there. Just be on the lookout for maybe different ways or more creative ways that you can be involved. But I'm very proud of the Inside Edition website. We have really done a lot. We've got all kinds of cool things and cool video going on there. It's neat to see how our show, which is the #1 news magazine show on television, also has this extension now on our website, and it's a whole new audience that we are reaching on the web, on social media. So yeah, a lot of these companies, they're just adapting and changing and reaching more people.
Great. Next question. Have there been times in your career when you have been forced to make decisions that were at odds with your faith? How do you handle a situation like that?
Great question. A lot of that has to do with the book, Faith in the Spotlight, Thriving in Your Career While Staying True to Your Beliefs. This book is filled with those stories. Now, I gotta say, note the words thriving in your career. I really feel like you can do it, and you shouldn't be discouraged, and you should just jump in there and go for it. But I encourage you in here to think about what you stand for, write out a mission statement, think about what would be absolutes for you, black and whites versus things that you can compromise on. In terms of a specific example, I talked about this in the book. For me, you know, there's been different times in my career when I've needed to, or been asked to cover a story that maybe I wasn't crazy about. One of the chapters is called Tiger Woods. And when that whole story broke, Tiger Woods and his family was falling apart and his marriage was falling apart a couple years ago, it was really rough to go through all that and watch this family fall apart and live through, you know, sort of the dark days of Tiger Woods. But I will say this, sometimes you're exactly where you're supposed to be. And in those moments, don't forget that maybe you're there for a specific reason. And instead of saying, oh my gosh, you know, I don't want to do this, and just say no, hey, work the problem. Maybe think about a way that you can have a conversation with somebody. Friendship is really important. People that you can debrief those difficult assignments with after work. Friendships, community is really important. And then in terms of like specific examples, there are a couple in the book, times when I was asked to wear a dress, for example, by a stylist that I wasn't crazy about. So I said no, but then I also offered a plan B, an option B. So you can work the problem, but that is a great question. It's all in here. every day is different. It's not one size fits all, but you can figure it out. I really believe you can. It's part of life and it's part of the process. So dig into the book and you'll find a lot of those stories. Great question.
Great. Next, I saw in your bio that you split your time between Nashville and New York City. Which city would you prefer to retire in?
Ooh, note the word retire. I was gonna say, I love both cities. There is no place like New York City, as all the songs tell us. If you can make it here, you'll make it anywhere. Concrete jungle. New York City is incredible. However, to retire, which I take as meaning playing golf, laying by the pool, a little bit slower life, I think I'd probably want to be in Nashville, Tennessee. Pretty awesome city and really, really nice people. A lot of horseback riding there too. I associate that with retirement.
Great. Next, are you concerned about polling that shows that millennials are less religious than older Americans? Do you think that this trend will ever be reversed?
Great question. Am I concerned that millennials are less religious than older Americans, and what should we do about that, and will that trend ever be reversed? Well, I think it's really important that churches, community groups that celebrate faith adapt to millennials and stay current and talk about issues that are current. Something that's really important to me is making sure that they're aware that for millennials and for my generation, both parents are probably working. I know in my household, both my husband and I work. And so how are churches and so forth caring for those families? I think it's really important that that conversation is ongoing in terms of childcare and support. And that was a big reason, I will say, that I wrote this book, because I see that trend and I didn't see a lot of books to the young, ambitious, working woman of faith. So I tried to tackle that in here and talk about the fact that I'm the one in my family that has the job that travels. I'm the one that's on the road a lot, and my husband stays home with the kids. So we need to be talking about this stuff and adapting to the times and make sure that, you know, sermons are reflective of what's going on in the world. That's very, very important, and I think it starts with conversation and just talking about it. And that's what I tried to do.
Great. I just bought your book for my granddaughter who is starting college next year. What other books do you think that she should read to help her in finding her path?
Your granddaughter wants a book about finding her path, starting college next year. Well, first of all, congratulations to your granddaughter. Man, there are a lot of wonderful books out there. For me, just recently, I read a book called Fierce Optimism by Lisa Gibbons. She's a former anchor and a role model of mine. That was a great book on maintaining positivity in your career and staying positive a lot of times when you feel like maybe the world is negative or pulling you down. You know, there's a lot of really great books out there. Joel Osteen's got a lot of good ones. Be the Best You type books. John Maxwell has a lot of great books. Yeah, I mean, I would personally go to the bookstore, and my favorite section is the self-help and professional development section. And I would go there and I would start looking at the different books that are available. But that's a great question. Caitlin Beatty just wrote a book that came out a month and a half ago called A Woman's Place, which is really interesting and tackles women's roles right now and for millennials, up and comers. So that was a good one too. Great question.
Great. So our next reader asks, what is the most interesting event that you have ever covered live?
Ivanka Trump has a great book called The Trump Card too, by the way, for professional working women that I loved. Most fun event to cover live. Well, I already said the Super Bowl, nothing like it. Covered 6 Super Bowls for Inside Edition. We're in the political season right now. Obviously, we have the election. I covered the Democratic National Convention 4 years ago. All of the reporters here at Inside Edition cover the conventions, and those are pretty amazing to see democracy in action and our political process in action. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, I would say those come to mind right now. So great question. The award shows are also fun. Walking the red carpet for Academy of Country Music Awards, CMAs, those are all real fun.
So yeah. Megan, we have Randy on the phone.
Okay. Hello, Randy.
Hi, Megan. This is Randy. I'm calling from Bellevue, Washington. I know your parents, and I know they must be very proud and I hope, listening in. And I was curious because I think you've answered. I'm a school counselor, and my question originally was, what advice would you give to young girls? But I think you covered that adequately by so many people's questions. So I wanted to ask a little bit of a different take. Do people know of your faith background that you work with in, television or speaking? Do they know where you stand in your faith as a Christian?
Well, thank you, Randy.
Or do they just...
Yeah. The great question. Thank you for calling, first of all. Bellevue, Washington, beautiful place. Know it well. That's a great,
Yes.
That's a great question. I got to be honest with you, Randy. I want to be known for doing good work. I want to be known for being a great reporter, a great interviewer, a great host. I am here to deliver for my boss, for the show, to do my job to the best of my ability. So I'm really one of those people that thinks, we need to be excellent at what we do, and advice for the younger generation would be, get the best college education you can, or best on-the-job training. I realize not everyone can go to college, so in terms of internships or shadowing someone, trying to do those types of things, and then find the skill set that you think, God has blessed you with, do excellent work. And Randy, I really believe that, preach the gospel, use words if necessary. Just
right. I agree,
right,
totally.
Be you in those moments. And I think it comes out naturally in conversation, in what you stand for. But I really think, you just need to be the best you that you can be, and then look for those small opportunities, whether it's just a conversation or maybe plans that you have for the weekend, and just being you in the environments and in the settings. I want young people to not be afraid to be who they are, to be proud of, their values and decisions in life, and just try to relax into it and be you in the moment. Does that make sense?
I love that. Because I think for me, when I try and encourage young people, and you spoke about it earlier, if you can find something that you love to do and figure out a way to make money at it and have a career that's satisfying, then I really think you are doing a lot of what I teach at a Christian school, or I'm a counselor at a Christian school, is, what has God prepared for you in advance to do? What gifts and talents? And then how to encourage young people to just go for that. And you talked about a mentor that you had when you were living in Seattle and, going down to the TV station. And
right.
Do you currently mentor any young women? I'm just curious.
Yes, and there's actually a story about her in the book. Her name's Keely, and she's out in Los Angeles right now. She's an actress, and she was in New York City about 5 years ago, and I got involved with a neat program that matched students fresh out of college who are interested in the entertainment industry with someone who's a couple years down the road. I got matched up with Keely, and we started meeting, every month for breakfast and just talking about the process in New York City, auditioning for Broadway, auditioning for commercials. She really wants to act, and just, talking her through that. And we were together.
I think it really... Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, and I, in addition to the professional, though, I got to see her date her boyfriend and now husband, and they moved out to Los Angeles to pursue acting, and we keep in touch even though it's long distance. But that's huge. And you know what the funny thing is, Randy, is she ends up inspiring me more than I think I'll inspire her. It's iron sharpens iron in those situations. So you need to make time for them. I'm honest about it in the book. I thought, oh my gosh, do I have time for this? I'm a young mother. What can I possibly offer this girl? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But I said no. Those people were important for me. I need to make time for this friendship. And she's a dear friend. And we still keep in touch today.
That was great.
Yeah.
And do you have a mentor now?
I do. And I talk in the book about casual mentors, personal mentors, professional mentors, and I do have a few different people in those categories. Professional people that I go to for advice, good friends, and then people like, my neighbor in Nashville, Tennessee that I really admire. People that, some that I may not even see that often, but I know that when we do talk, it's intentional and it's encouraging, and I try to make time to check in with them and they with me. Hey, let's be honest, it's a crazy world that we live in. We're all super busy. It's easier said than done, but it does, don't be deterred and think that it needs to be that once a week coffee. I really felt like, someday that's going to be the mentor situation, right? It can be long distance and it can be from afar.
Oh, thank you, Megan, and good luck. I can hardly wait to get my
Oh,
2 copies.
thanks.
I have one. Well, I might order more, actually. I better get off and listen to you. But
I
thank
love
you
it.
so much.
Thank you, Randy. Thanks for
Okay.
calling in. Take
Bye.
care.
Megan, our
was
next
fun.
question. I can't wait to read the book. Thanks for doing this.
Thank
My
you.
question is, who is a woman that you look up to and why?
Great question. Who is a woman that I look up to and why? Yes, so in the mentors chapter of this book, as I just mentioned to Randy, I really go through those different categories. Of course, my mother, who I think did such a great job raising my sister and I, and who may be watching right now. Hi, Mom. I had to do the hi, Mom. She's my role model and somebody that I look up to and just love dearly. I'm now that I have 2 young children, I'm calling her every other day and saying, Mom, how did you do it? I don't know what I'm doing as a mother. So I'm so thankful to her. And then professionally, I talk about it in the book. I'm incredibly grateful and thankful that Deborah Norville is the anchor of our show. She's one of the classiest ladies in the business. And it's really cool to be able to interact with her, even though, again, our show is very hectic and crazy. She's been married for many, many years, mother of 3, very involved in charity. I think that's really, really cool. From afar, you know, I admire Brene Brown, who talks about vulnerability and being authentic. I follow her, love to read her books, so that's sort of somebody from afar. And then, you know, I would say I kind of, some of them are in the book. I mean, Roma Downey, who wrote the foreword to my chapter, A Seat at the Table, she's a role model. We developed a friendship on this show, and I was so grateful that she contributed to the book. She's a big one, and then just friends too that I have in the industry. Great question.
Okay, Megan, next question. What helps you get through those days when you feel like you're struggling as a mom and a wife?
Yes, don't we all have those days when we feel like we're struggling as a mom and a wife? One of the best sayings that I heard recently was, forget the word balance. It's unattainable. We're never going to completely balance our lives being a working woman and a mother and a wife, but just try to be intentional with your time. And the saying that I saw was something like, some days I'm all about work, and then some days I'm all about being a mom. And I think that's important because I feel like my life goes like this. Like when I'm traveling for Inside Edition, for example, covering the Super Bowl, I'm gone for a full week. Or on assignment, a lot of times we go for a couple days, and I need to be totally focused on work. But then when I'm home, I try to really unplug and unplug that phone and be intentional about my time with my family. That's easier said than done. But when you're struggling, pat yourself on the back, throw out that word balance, just don't even think about it, because I think sometimes it just is gonna make us feel guilty and like we can't do it. And then just try to take it a day at a time and focus on what you can in that moment. And you know, just tell yourself you're doing okay. We're figuring it out, aren't we? That's important. It's definitely not one size fits all. And yeah, it's a great question and something I'm still figuring out, so.
What advice would you give to your younger self?
Ooh, what advice would I give to my younger self? It's all gonna be okay. They aren't partying and having as much fun as you think. Yes, in college there was times when I was really into my career and just going for it, and you have that little feeling of, oh my gosh, everyone's having more fun than I am. I gotta tell you, I put it in the book, a lot of the celebrities and people that I've admired, business leaders, I have been surprised that for example, when they win an award on a red carpet, when they win a Emmy or they win a award at the CMAs, the Country Music Association, a lot of times I'll interview the celebrities and say, hey, how are you going to celebrate tonight? And you think, oh, they're gonna go to some party and just live it up. And so many of these celebrities and hardworking folks will say, oh no, I'm jumping on a red-eye flight. I have to go film another movie. Or, oh no, I'm rushing home to be with my family. I haven't seen my kids in 5 days. So I would tell my younger self, stick with those goals and dreams. People aren't having as much fun without you as you think, and it will all pay off, because it has. So yes, it is okay sometimes to be alone and just focus. I think it's a great thing to do, and they're not having as much fun as you think.
The next question is from Emily from Illinois. What is the best advice that you have received and the best advice you can give to a 12-year-old girl?
Emily, best advice I've ever received, best advice I can give to a 12-year-old girl. That is a great question. I would say this, Emily. As girls, I think oftentimes we feel like we need to conform to a certain standard. We need to look a certain way. We need to act a certain way. The best advice I've been given is be proud of being you. You are unique and special. And let me tell you how that has played out in my career. There have been times when I have been up for a job and I was literally told, you are not their type, you don't have their look, you shouldn't even apply for this job. You shouldn't even try out for this part. And I said, well, okay, but let me just do it for the experience. I just want to get some feedback. Emily, let me tell you that I got that part. And that casting director said to me, we like you because you're different. You look fresh. You have a unique look. You don't look like everybody else. So the best advice I could give you is you're exactly as you're meant to be. I have had those moments where I thought, oh my gosh, I don't look like these supermodels, or I don't look like a certain way, I'll never be on television. No, you're exactly who you should be. Don't ever doubt it. And you just may be exactly what they're looking for. So feel good about yourself, because I can really feel that there have been times when I question that, but you're beautiful just the way you are, and I really mean it.
Michaela from Dublin, Ohio asks, what was your reaction to winning Miss Washington preteen?
Well, hello, thank you to my pageant girls for tuning in. Yes, back when I was 12 years old, I got a flyer in the mail from my mom about being in a pageant, and I was an athlete. I had no idea what a pageant was, but it's all about the experience, and I decided to try something new, which I've carried all throughout my life. Try new things, try something different. No matter what, you're gonna learn something about yourself. So yes, I entered the Miss Washington preteen pageant, and I was so excited because you might be able to relate to this. The thing that I thought about the most was that a lot of the girls that had won prior went on to work for the company, and I've always been involved in, always been interested in production and the microphone, and I thought, oh my gosh, maybe now I'll get a chance to work for this company and help produce the event. I was very intrigued by the behind the scenes. So my reaction was, oh my gosh, maybe in a couple years I can work for this company. And I still remember talking to a couple named Steve and Kathleen Mays and asking them if that could possibly happen one day. And sure enough, it did. So that's my memory.
Ashley from Defiance, Ohio asks, Megan, I love what you do in your industry and how you shine a light for Jesus. Do you have a song or verse you recite in your mind when dealing with difficult situations, either on the work front or on the home front?
Gosh, that's a great question, Ashley. Thank you. Defiance, Ohio. I know a lot of people out there, so hello to all of you. Gosh, do you have a song or verse you recite in your mind? You know, yes, I do actually. TobyMac, who is a inspirational pop singer, has a great song called Lose Your Soul. I don't want to gain the whole world and lose my soul. I have played that before speaking engagements or times when I've just sort of felt overwhelmed at the task ahead. And I love that song because it puts things in perspective. Be you. At the end of the day, all that matters is that you're being true to yourself. You don't want to lose your soul in the process. So yeah, I've rocked out to many a TobyMac songs before events and before assignments. Good question.
The next question is from Erin from Nashville, Tennessee. It's a two-parter. Megan, congratulations on your new book. I can't wait to read it. You know how much me and my family love you. Here's my question. What would people be the most surprised to know about you or the book? And another one, what has been your favorite interview so far and why?
Great question. And I think Erin is also with Jason Crabb, who is a good family friend in Nashville, Tennessee, gospel singer. Love you, Jason. Thank you for your support, Jason Crabb and family. Gosh, what would someone be the most surprised to know about me in the book? That's a good question. Most surprised? Well, if you don't know me, you might be surprised that I have a chapter called Sleep Your Way to the Top, and it is about abstinence and my own personal story of abstinence in my marriage. If you don't know me, that could be interesting because people don't talk about that a lot nowadays. Something else is there's a chapter called Launching Pads in the book, and I am very involved with an organization called the Hugh O'Brien Youth Foundation, HOBY, and I was a high school sophomore representative for this program. It's really, really cool, HOBY.org. And Hugh O'Brien, the founder, a 1950s actor, he was in Wyatt Earp and a bunch of different 50s television shows and movies. He just passed away. Incredible man, and I am on the board of governors for HOBY. So that's just a really cool organization and something that people may not know. So check out HOBY if you could. Thank you to Jason Crabb and Aaron.
Megan, we have Kelly on the phone for you.
Oh, awesome. Hello, Kelly.
Hello, Megan. Congratulations on your book.
Thank you so much. Thanks for calling.
I watched you this morning on Fox and Friends, and I thought, oh, that looks really interesting. I'm going to have to order. So I ordered 2 copies.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that.
You're welcome. Yeah.
What is your question?
I can't. Oh, my question was, I'm just wondering, in your field, in your work environment, if you run into situations where you need to forgive, like a coworker or a boss or somebody you're working with, how do you deal with that? How do you not hold a grudge if you see them again, or do you have any tips for, like, just in the work environment, how to handle things that come your way like that?
That is a great question, Kelly. How do you forgive colleagues, move on? Well, you know, one of them is I think you need to have really thick skin in this industry. Stuff needs to roll off your back. We are under intense deadlines. It's crazy sometimes in this newsroom behind me with people running around and papers flying as we figure out stories. So have a thick skin and realize sometimes that, you know, you can't take things personally when people are under the gun and under intense pressure, you know. But again, that's easier said than done. I get it. It's difficult sometimes in the moment to not have your feelings be hurt. But I found that, you know, try to deliver the task at hand, get the job done, and then maybe visit up with that person later when you're away from the intense situation. Because you know how sometimes when we're in the moment, and I have this issue where you talk about things right in the moment and everyone's so worked up. My dad always said, just walk away for a little bit, say, I'll get back to you. And for me, it could be, you know, walking the sidewalk here in New York City just for a little bit and taking a deep breath. And, you know, remembering that we're all in this together and that ultimately we want to put out a good product. But I would say, you know, take some time to discuss the issue later when you're not, you know, in the moment and it's so intense.
In the emotion of it all. Yeah, that's great. That's great advice, Megan. Thank you.
You bet. Thank you so much for calling, Kelly.
Okay. All right. Well, congratulations and all the best to you.
Thank you. You as well. Thank you so much.
Okay. And I'm calling from Tacoma, Washington, too, by the way.
Tacoma. What's up, Tacoma? I love it. How fun.
Northwest people.
That's right. Love the Northwest. Thank you.
Yes. All right. Thanks.
Thank you. Go Seahawks. I'm sorry I had to. Born and raised in Seattle. I had to. Covered the NFL, so I know all the teams, love all the teams. There's a picture of Drew Brees in this book for the New Orleans Saints. J.J. Watt is in this book for Houston Texans. So listen, I had to say that, but I love all the teams, and they're all in the book. So.
All right, Megan, next question is from Jason from Wichita, Kansas.
Okay.
Have you ever refused to do a story because it conflicted with your beliefs?
Great question, Jason. Have I ever refused to do a story because it conflicted with my beliefs? You know, the book is full of some situations that I've been in where maybe I didn't feel the most comfortable about something that I needed to cover. And I encourage people, again, to try to write out those black and whites and those absolutes about what you will or won't do. For me, it was a story that I told on Fox and Friends this morning. So Inside Edition tends to cover all of the big award shows. And we say, you know, for example, Angelina Jolie wore this dress on the red carpet at the Academy Awards, and tomorrow on Inside Edition, we're going to show you a similar look at a fraction of the price. And being one of the female reporters on our show, I tend to model those dresses the next day. Again, replicas, you know, cheaper versions of those dresses. And a particular reality star modeled a dress on the red carpet a couple years ago, just showing a ton of skin, plunging neckline, no judgment against her. It just wasn't for me. I didn't feel comfortable wearing that dress. And the stylist wanted me to model a version of that dress. And I just said, I just can't do it. I don't feel comfortable wearing this dress. So I said no, but then I offered an option B, a plan B. And I said, hey, Heidi Klum walked the red carpet in this cute little black dress. I know I can pull it off. I can do my hair like her. Let's get this together. Let's figure this out. And we were working under deadline. We had to deliver for our show in a couple of hours. So I said no, but again, I offered a plan B. And I think that's really important, is that you try to work the problem, because I'm on a show with a lot of people that are trying to feed their families and take home a paycheck. So sometimes if you just say no, you're going to stop the train. So be creative about it. Try to work the problem and be flexible. Again, I'm in this industry and I know the industry that I'm in. So I really think that you should try to work the problem, because I know the kind of stories that Inside Edition covers. That's why I'm here. I'm not one to complain or think that other people should complain too. So try to work the problem if you can. And again, figure out those absolutes about what you ultimately would really want to take a stand on. Great question. And research, of course, the job before you get there too, so you have an idea of maybe what will be asked of you.
Amy from Eugene, Oregon asks, what are your career aspirations beyond the successes you have already attained?
What was the name again?
Amy.
Amy. Hello, Amy in Eugene, Oregon. Beautiful place in the Northwest. Well, that's a great question. I am unapologetically ambitious. I want to encourage everyone to go for it in life and to go after those career goals and dreams. For me, something is going to happen this spring that was a dream of mine, and that was to be in a feature film. I flew to Mumbai, India last year to film just a small part in a movie called Heartbeats, which is coming out this spring, directed by Dwayne Adler, who wrote one of the forewords to the Mentors chapter in my book. He was also the director for the film Step Up with Channing Tatum, and he wrote the screenplay for that, and then directed Heartbeats and wrote the screenplay. So that it was really neat to do, to be on set, to see a feature film in action, and to watch Dwayne direct the cast and crew. That was incredible. I'd love to do more of that. I love the creative process. I think that's really, really cool. So that would be really, really neat to do. And then, listen, I live in Nashville, Tennessee, so I'd love to record a couple songs in a studio. I mean, everybody that lives there wants to do that, so that would just be fun. My son loves to sing, my 5-year-old son Chase, so maybe we could do something together. He's just really fun about all that, so maybe down the road something in music. Good question.
Next question is
I'll
from...
write you down too, Amy. Sorry, let me make sure I get all these names. Don't worry, we will be double checking all of these. Okay.
The next question is from Patricia from Iowa. Does your book cover the aspect of prayer and waiting upon the Lord as it relates to career decisions?
That is a great question. Patricia, thank you so much for joining us tonight. The book is definitely 90% work, 90% career in terms of setting goals, different, again, stories of navigating work situations and so forth. I do talk about the fact that, at the end of the day, you need to figure out what's best for you and what's best for you in your faith. And if you are a Christian, that's with you and the Lord. So we do talk about that and how important it is to ultimately, perform for an audience of one, for me, that audience of one being my relationship with the Lord. And that's because of prayer. And in terms of waiting, I would say this, that oftentimes we think, if a job's right in front of us and we don't get it, oh my gosh, my life is over. But I talk in the book about being up for a big job a couple years ago. I thought I was going to get it. It was going to be a big move for me. I didn't get it. And I really see that when God closes a door, He opens a window. So sometimes that plan B is even better than you thought. And that's waiting. Waiting as it applies to your career and waiting on the Lord. Great question. Patience is tough, isn't it? It really is. I need more of that. We have 5 minutes. Any more we want to throw in?
Let's do a last question. You mentioned your children a little bit earlier. Charlotte from Lafayette, Indiana asks, how long have you been married and how many children do you have? And are you raising them in your faith?
Hey, Charlotte. I have been married 8 years to a wonderful man named Brian, who's probably tuning in right now. What's up, baby? Thanks for taking care of the boys tonight. We have 2 boys, a 1-year-old and a 5-year-old. I would love to have more children. I need to convince my husband of that because he says you have babies and then you take off and fly away on assignment and leave the babies with me. So we're needing to figure that one out, but I'd love to have a big family. I think big families are really, really cool. And yes, we all go to church together, and absolutely, yeah, it's a big part of my life, so it's a big part of our family's life. Our faith is. Good question. One more. We got 3 minutes.
We have
Let's do
time
another.
for one more. Ava from Franklin, Tennessee asks, do you feel like it has been hard to find a balance between career and personal life? And is it different, do you think, for men and women?
Yes, great question, Ava from Franklin. Thank you for calling in. Again, I don't like that word balance because I think it's different for every person. In our family, it works for me to be the really ambitious one. My husband is ambitious too, don't get me wrong, but my job is the job where I tend to travel, and he knows that. So again, you need to figure out what works best for you. I think it used to be different for men and women, but it is changing now, especially for my generation and younger. I think we're really seeing households where both parents work or just the female works, and we're seeing more stay-at-home dads. So yes, it is hard to find a balance. We're constantly checking in with each other, my husband and I, and saying, how are we doing? Let's reevaluate in a couple weeks, reevaluate in a couple months. It's an ongoing process, but yeah, I think we're getting more and more equal now on figuring out that balance for both spouses, and I think that's really cool. I think it's neat to show your kids that, hey, mommy and daddy can both have careers and be involved at home. So life is good, can't complain. Feel blessed. Thank you, Ava.
And we actually have time for one more question. Okay. This is from Bob from Shoreline, Washington. Seattle, San Antonio, Nashville, or NYC? What do you love about each, and why is Seattle best?
Oh my gosh, that is such a great question, and I simply cannot answer that one, Bob. Born and raised in Seattle, go Seahawks. Nashville is near and dear to my heart because one of my first television jobs was there for Fox 17, so we'll always love Nashville. But San Antonio was an incredible place to work for 3 years. That Spurs team is awesome. If you've ever been to a Spurs game, the way the town rallies around that team is just awesome. And I will be there Friday doing a book signing in San Antonio. Can't wait. And then New York City. Here we are, nothing like it. It truly is the capital of the world. So I'm going to say them all. I'm sorry. I have to say them all. Love them all. Thank you, Bob. Appreciate it. That was so fun, you guys. We have 55 seconds left. I don't want to stop. Do we have to? Thank you guys so much. We're going to go through these now, but I really appreciate you joining us tonight. The book is Faith in the Spotlight, Thriving in Your Career While Staying True to Your Beliefs. I am so blessed to be sharing this with you. Really enjoyed working on this book. You can get it on the website right now, a little bit longer. You can also get it on Amazon, any of the bookstores, Barnes & Noble, Lifeway. I'd love to hear what you think about it, so find me on social media at Megan Alexander on Twitter, at Megan Alexander on Facebook, and I'm Megan J. Alexander 1 on Instagram. Love your feedback, loved your questions tonight. Thank you so much for joining me and taking time this evening. I guess we're signing off from New York City. Thanks, you guys. Really appreciate it. Hopefully see you soon, so keep in touch. God bless.
This is like an online book signing thing. So I'll be signing books, and then I'll be answering questions.
We're going to take 3 phone calls from some lucky winners.
So just like if you stood in line for hours and hours, this is your chance to have a second with Glenn and ask him questions.
We're hanging out again. We are live here at Franklin Entertainment in the office, kicking it. Hi, guys.
I'm going to sign as we go, and you can buy, and we will ship this right to you. And we're also answering questions. Do you have any questions over there?
How does one get on The Bachelor?
As a seasoned comedian, do you ever completely bomb anymore? And if so, how do you deal? Oh, I have the best bombing story.
What's the most satisfying snack to eat while wearing sweatpants?
Have you girls ever thought about writing a book all together about your teen mom journey?
When you're writing, do you listen to music?
What is the most frightening thing that you've ever done?
Who is your desert island band? That's from Kevin MacLeod.
Sean from California, you're live.
You're the lucky winner of the call.
My favorite part on The Bachelor was definitely like being in the house with all the girls.
I don't know if you remember this or not, but in Atlanta, I was the guy that chased after your car and got the WrestleMania poster signed.
Oh, I remember you.
I wanted to know what it was like seeing the stash plan for the first time when it was like a book and you had a copy of it.
I think I started crying, actually. You did. You got emotional.
I was
I had like pure happiness. It was a wonderful moment.
This is great. I hope I get his voicemail. I think this is actually the wrong number. But anyway, I was looking to buy a used Vespa. It was on Craigslist. It was a purple 1973 Vespa. It was missing the seat.
So thank you guys so much for being here. Enjoy the rest of your days. I hope all of you that asked so many questions get some sleep.
Good night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow night.
See my baby.
Thanks for tuning in, you guys. Bye.
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 Thank you for watching, folks.
Thank you, everyone. LiveSigning.com.
Thank you so much for watching. Until next time.
I believe this is as close to a hard rap as I'll ever get, and this is as close to doing home shopping as I'll ever be.
Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for coming. I'm going to go get drunk.
Is that how we end it? I spilled water. I'm losing my voice. Mwah.